Okay, live, sir. Ready.
Good afternoon to all of you. Respected our chief guest, Dr.Ramesh, Chandrarath. Respected our president, Sri Chandraprabhu Jain College, Minjur. Respected our secretary, Sri Chandraprabhu Jain College, Minjur. Respected vice principal, ma'am, and respected HODs and all the other department people. I cordially welcome Dr. Ramesh Chandrarath for this wonderful program. And he has come with excellent knowledge as far as management is concerned. And Sir is with us, and he is going to elaborate more about what do you mean by qualitative research and what do you mean by quantitative research, and how to apply this quantitative research and qualitative research in our day-to-day area. And he is also going to help us how to write a research articles. First, I hand over back to this session to Dr. Ramesh Chandrarath for his lecture, special lecture on this data techniques, particularly for qualitative data and quantitative data. So on behalf of Sri Chandraprabhu Jain College, I cordially welcome you, Professor, for this wonderful occasion. So thank you so much. Over to you.
Namaskaram, Minjur. Thank you, sir, for your identification and recognition regarding my profile. Respected President Sri Chandraprabhu Jain College, Honorable Secretary Lalit Kumar O. Jain, Sri Chandraprabhu Jain College, Minjur, respected Principal Dr. V. Nagajyoti sir, respected Vice Principal Professor Dr. N. Sujata, Professor Kishore sir, Professor, other professors, head of the departments, invited dignitaries, research scholars, professors, faculty members. Myself, Dr. Ramesh Chandrarath, belongs to Bokara Steel City as a Dean, Research and Development, and a Professor and Head of the Department of Management, MBA from Guru Gobind Singh Education Society of Technical Campus under Jharkhand University, Ranchi, that is Jharkhand University of Technology, Ranchi. Going to share my PPTs. Before going to share my PPT, it is my immense pleasure and privilege by receiving your nice invitations from your good organization regarding on that's a national webinar, series of webinar. That is the last day, I think the last day, that is the basic methods of data collection for qualitative and quantitative research. Let us come to discuss one by one. Welcome to all research scholars, participants, students, professors to this national platform. The highlights. I have outlined and highlights the abstract about the qualitative research, introduction about the qualitative research, what is data, how it will be collected, methods of data collection. There is primary data collection and secondary data collection, because there are two types of data collection methods. One is the primary method of data collection, another is secondary method of data collection. The steps of data collection, that is observation, interview, questionnaire, scheduling, etc. And essence of a good researcher, how the qualitative essence of a good researcher for a research work, qualitative research work, that also discuss. What is the qualitative research? Basic differentiation between the qualitative research and quantitative research, basic methods of qualitative and quantitative research, and advantages and disadvantages of qualitative and quantitative research, and finally the conclusion. In the introduction paragraph, as no research, the term research as a re plus a search Re means again, search means an inquiry. Search means again and again search, and what at last found, that is called as research. The research word derived from Greek word researcher, French word also researcher, that means to inquiry, to investigation, to examine a problem, a certain problem, to find a good result or that the best result out of many, that is called as research. So in research, the basic part is data collection. What is the data collection? Data collection is a term used to describe a process of preparing and collecting data. In the collecting data means information. How to collect various information related with the research problem. That is the sole factor for discussion in the research methodology. Again, research, the systematic gathering of data collection, research is systematic gathering of data collections, how to scientifically collection of data, various platforms, various segmentations, various fields that for a particular purpose from various sources that has been systematically observed, recorded and organized. Whatever may be information collected by the information in various sources that is systematically collected, observed, recorded and finally organized in systematic way, that is the data collection. Then go for the data are basic inputs of any decision making process in business, research or in academic. Whatever may be the basic inputs of data collection depends upon decision making in business. Research at a glance. So for research is concerned, research is scientific process, systematic process, scientific process of inquiry and investigations made by a professor, investigator, surveyor, for research scholar in order to gathering such information on a problem for expecting a right solution or result. Every researcher has expected a good result, right result out of a many from a problem, out of a many solutions, many ways. So that research is systematic process, research is scientific process. In that scientific process, investigator, surveyors, they go for inquiry, examine the proper data, and finally gathering the information, gathering the data, then data collection, data presentation, data classification, then data interpretation, and finally data analysis. When data analysis that is, then go for the result analysis or outcome or conclusion. This is the sole factor of discussion, research at a glance. The research objectives. Research having certain objectives. Without research objectives, a researcher may not achieve a good quality of research. So that the research objectives are for researchers, professors to identify the characteristics of qualitative data and quantitative research. In qualitative data, many characteristics are there. How qualitative data are obtained by researcher from the respondent and how many quantitative data are obtained in the research activities. That is sole factor of discussion in the research objectives. Again, formulate qualitative research questions. By qualitative data, the researcher formulate the questions. This basically depends upon the objectives, research objectives. Without specific objectives, a qualitative data, qualitative research, qualitative questionnaire may not be possible. Third point, then develop a robust qualitative design including an appropriate sampling strategy. In research, the research objective stated about the qualitative design of research design including appropriate sampling strategy. Because the sampling strategy, the proper sampling strategy not taken by the researchers, maybe he or she may be not getting good quality of a sample, good quality of a data, good quality of a sample or good quality of the sampling from the universe or populations. And objectives, if select and apply the criteria that makes a rigorous qualitative research only. The rigorous qualitative studies that depends upon researchers. If researcher is self-motivated, interest, then apply the criteria as per the research methodology, then definitely obtain good quality of data, good quality of information, good quality of this is research, that is research study enhancing. And finally, that is gather the resources in such a way that for collecting all data as related to the qualitative characteristics. Such a way, the gather the information. The researcher collected many informations from the field, from the respondent, with different segmentations in such a way that data or information collecting in a particular way, which has a characteristic having qualitative. That is qualitative, scientific, reliable, authentic data. Then he is able to go for a qualitative research. Otherwise, may not go for a qualitative research. It is not possible by the research objectives. Clear? Then go for this is the concept of data. Data means information. So for the word data is concerned, data is a collection of many information. It may be single information, it may be multiple information, many information, many resources or informations are called data. So for data is concerned, data is a process. This is a scientific process, collection of a scientific process, collection of systematic process by the researchers which collect from the information needed to answer the research problem. Data is collected to answer the research problem, because researchers have taken a problem that how to solve that problem that requires certain information for solve the problem in a scientific way or a systematic way. Second, the task of data collection begins after a research problem. First is research problem. The research problem, take it a suitable title, research problem, that is the formulation of a problem, then research design starts. That is research design is collection of data, go for a primary data or secondary data, which data is required, as per the data, that is researcher go for, that is research activities. So that the problem is, research problem has been defined, a research design, chalk out. How to research design, execute or chalk out, that is sole factor for discussion in the data collection methods. Concept of data. So for data is concerned, the collection of data or information is called as that is called a data. But how the data to be collected, it depends upon the mental state, the readiness, the research motivation of the researchers. That is contains the number of WH word, that is which data to be collected. Those data related with the research problem, that data will be collected. Otherwise, other data may not be collected. How to collect the data? The process of data collection. They will go for a primary mode of data collection or a secondary mode of data collection that depends upon the nature of the research problem. On the nature of the research design, on the basis of researchers' mindset and research design, go for the collection of data, how to collect data from, and who will collect the data? Definitely respondents. Researcher collects data from the respondents, from the fields, from many persons that is related with the research problem, and the respondents are recorded properly, sequence manner that is recorded, then it has enhancing the research activities. And finally, when to collect data? When the collected data, the time factor, time schedule, that is settled, that is schedule, that is planned by the researcher when to collect data from the respondent from various fields, various segmentations. Purpose of data collection. The purpose of data collection, researchers mean to collection of data for the purpose of good quality of research activities. So the purpose of data collection is obtain the information, because in research many informations are required, because informations are data. Without data, the original research work may not be possible. Qualitative information, without qualitative information, the qualitative research may not be possible to keep on record. When qualitative informations are having, the researchers go for the record for future consequences or research activities. To make the decisions, which decision taken by the researchers, whether data is valid, whether data is invalid, data is reliable, scientific, authenticate, and finally it is useful for the research problem, to solve the research problem or research work, that everything decision taken by the researchers about important issues. And finally, to pass the information to others, because information pass, if data analysis information are gatherings, that information is useful, pass to others, pass to researcher, pass to guide, pass to professors, those are involved in the research activities. So that it is useful for everyone to do the qualitative research. Classification of data. As you know, the method of data collection, data presentation, data classification, data that is interpretation, and final data analysis, data interpretation. These are the process of this research methodologies. So the classification data, basically two types. One is primary data, other is secondary data. The primary data is original data, basic data, primary data, original data, in which researcher go for original research, quality research. If data is insufficient, not have this is educate, then go for researcher secondary data or secondary mode of collection data, that is the secondary source, which as published sources may be collected information by the researchers. The primary research methods and techniques for research work, particularly qualitative research, there are primary research, this is the so many techniques are there, so many methods are there as per the research technology. So primary research basically two types, one is a qualitative research, another quantitative research. So depends upon qualitative and quantitative data, and qualitative data is required for both, have this is the both of research. Quantitative data is required for quantitative research. Qualitative data is required for qualitative research. In quantitative data, how can a researcher obtain from the survey, from the personal interview, intercepts, mail, in-house, self-administered, telephone, fax, email, website, different websites, collected data regarding the quantitative data. Again, the quantitative data also that is collected from the experiments, from scientific experiments from the laboratories. Mechanical observation means scientific observation by the researcher, simulation, mutation, different forms may be the quantitative data obtained by the researchers. In the primary research, when the primary research is concerned or qualitative research concerned, again the qualitative data may be collected for the qualitative research, for focus groups, peer groups, focus groups, individual depth interviews, observation, human observations, case studies, ethnographic research, many more that is related for qualitative data obtained. Due to obtain of qualitative data and quantitative data, research is so easy and research is enhancing by the researcher in a better way or scientific way. Data collection flow. The flow of data collection both are proceeds primary data and secondary data, internal records and external records, internal sources and external sources from different sources, electronic mode of print mode. This is suppose go for this is the internal records, the sales purchase results, marketing activities. This is particularly the business research and academic activities for the research and this academic research, cost of information, distributor reports for the business research, like this information from academics, that is in academic research. Then electronic printed notice from government, trade associations, periodicals, newspapers, annual reports, private studies. These fields can obtain both the mode of data, electronic mode as well as the printed mode. The information collected, the data is flows. So store audits, like the many warehouses, withdrawal services, many more that's related with the flow of data while go for researcher collection of data. The selection process of data by the researchers. When a researcher go for the collection of data, he has determined the selection process, a research design, a scientific or meticulous research design taken by the researchers, so that the selection of a method for collecting information depends upon the resource available. How much resources available? The resources main part of discussion. Resources main part of information for collection of data. If resources are not available, how can a researcher go for a qualitative research? It's not possible. They can credibility. Who collect the data in a proper way, proper sequence, and able to collect data, credit goes to him or her. But definitely the credit goes to the collection of data researcher, surveyor, professor, guide. And third point, analysis and reporting. When data is collection of this is from the resources, various resources or various sources, then go for data presentation, data classification, then data analysis. In the data analysis reporting, how data analysis, who able to collect data, who able to analyze data, proper man. Basically professor, basically researcher, basically scientist, those are expert in this field. They go for the collection of data and presentation of data, classification of data interpretation, and finally able to data analysis. That data analysis, the reports are recorded. And resources, which are resources of this issue in field of data collection, those resources are resources are covered, or help of resources that also recorded, that also followed by the researchers. And finally, the selection of data collection by the researchers, the skill of the evaluators. If he evaluator trained, experienced, expert, then easy to collection of data. If he has a skill, well skilled, then collection of data is very easy from the respondent. The basic methods for data collections. We are time discussion the basic methods of data collection for both qualitative and quantitative research. For qualitative research or quantitative research, whatever it may be, the basic methods are adopted or implemented or executed by the researchers for method of data collection as per the research methodology. Research methodology, as a researcher followed which techniques or ways or application ways followed to achieve a good outcome or result, that ways called as research methodology. And the weapons or tools and techniques adopted by the researchers, that is called as tools and techniques of research. So that in methods of data collection essentially two types. One is primary data collection and the secondary data collection. We have discussed already. The primary mode of data collection, which is basically basic research or original research, that are primary as those who are collected for the first time and original in character. those informations are collected first time and original in nature or scientific and reliable, that information that is called as a primary data. Otherwise, it may not be called as a primary data. Then secondary data, those data are secondary. Secondary means after primary mode of data collection. If data not enough, not adequate for the research work, then go for the secondary mode of data collection, particularly published mode of data collection. The different journals, different books, different sources, they may be collected. And this is the palm leaf, from the palm leaf, from the stone craftings, many things were collected data, that is called a secondary source of data collections. So secondary mode of data collection which have already has been collected by someone else. Those are collected previously or published previously by different journals, by different books published by authors. You can collect from the information from that through some statistical analysis, that also enhancing the quality research through the mode of secondary data. The collection of primary data. The first step of data collection called as a primary or basic methods of data collection, primary method of data collections. So a primary mode of data collection through experiments. Those experiments requires for particularly experimental research or scientific research, that is experiment is requires, so that you can collect the data from the experiments. Surveys, sample surveys, census surveys, population survey like this one, the surveys, field surveys like this one, you can collect the original data or accurate data, reliable data. Interviews, because the interview, the face-to-face interaction by the researcher and the respondent, collection the information is easy by the face-to-face interactions. It may be formal interview, it may be non-formal interview, so the schedule of interview can be planned, can be scheduled by the researchers. Then go for observation, the human observations. How experiment during the experiment, what he has or she has observed. The interviewer, during the interview, your researcher asks the questions during the research, how he has or she has observed regarding the respondent views. That observation are recorded, that enhancing the quality research, that is belongs to the part of the primary data. Then go for questionnaires. The questionnaire is a basic part. That is the initial part or the basic part or the primary part of research. Without a good questionnaires, without a good fit questionnaires, that is research is not possible. A questionnaire is a systematic process. That is a systematic process, a schema or systematic process or answer-based analysis that is content to 15 questions from a simple question to then this is simple question to some logical questions, and this is some questions, not only psychological questions asked in questionnaires. So a systematic questionnaires, multiple questions, objective type of questions, that is bio-numeric questions that are asked by the researchers related to the research problem to the respondent, and collect the information from the respondent through the questionnaires, maybe by sending the questionnaire by Google form, or have this email, or have this is a direct this is a form are given to the respondent, collection of data through the mode of questionnaires. This is the prime part of this is a PhD. The prime part of a PhD questionnaires are collected. A questionnaire, good questionnaires prepared by the researchers and collected data from the respondents. And finally, all things in interview schedule, questionnaire schedule, everything is scheduled by the researcher properly with a systematic plan or meticulous plan for collection of a good quality data. That is, it belongs to the collection of a primary data. It's a basic factor, basic discussion of this platform. Then go for the basic methods of data collection. First is observation. Observation, the self-observation, human observation, researcher observation, that is observation method is the best method under the data from the field collected with the help of observation by the observer or the personnel going to the field. If a researcher go for field and ask the respondents, number of people interacted, and during the interaction, the researchers have this is collected the information apart from the respondents, various person from various segmentation or various fields, the data recorded, and on the basis of that data, how he observed, how she observed, that is the feelings and experiences that he experiences recorded and noted in the research diary. That is a research diary. The researcher having a diary or a note, that is a research diary, which are a primary mode of data collection, that is enhancing the quality research. In the words of P.B. Jung, that is observation may be defined as a systematic viewing coupled with the consideration of a scene phenomenon. The scene phenomenon subject oriented. Any subject you have seen, You have examined, you have seen, you are viewing, and what you are observed in a systematic manner, that is called as your personal observation. That is researcher observation. That is the main part of the primary mode of data collection. In the collection of observation, the observation is otherwise known as mode of data collection in natural field settings. The natural collection of data may be field setting. You can collect the data. Natural mode, natural environment, natural phenomena. The researchers, they collect the data very scientifically, very systematically, and originally from the respondent. Where respondent is free-minded, free to or happy to respond. In the artificial setting, the respondent may not be responded properly. So that the mode of observation, data collection, qualitative in the observation from the natural setting, natural field is much more important, much more better way, or scientific way, systematic way for collection of data. It can be overt and covert. The observation may be two types. That's internal observation, external observation. The overt and covert, researcher having both externally and internally. Internally, what he feel during the interaction with the respondent, and covert, look or watch the body language, face, body language, and the facial expression, everything from the respondent. How whether respondent deliver the information or data that is true or that is fake, or if this is that's wrong, right or wrong, you can observe through overt the covert behavior of respondents. It can be involved the participation by researcher in the settings. There is a researcher whatever be setting, that is event, non-participation. You can collect the data through your observation, through your personal observation, psychological observation, on the basis of experience. That is primary data collected easily. Then the basic method of data collection, step of an effective observation. How observation is effective? Observation is effective depends upon the experience of the observer. Means the researcher, if you keen interest or motivated to collect the data, the mindset and determine what needs to be observed. As per the research problem, as per the research design, what he expected, taken the objectives according to the research problem needs, he can collect the data or collect the data through his observations. So that first step is determine what needs to be observed. Then go for select of a participant selections randomly or selected. Randomly means this is randomly means you can random means unsuccessful. So that randomly means you can arbitrarily assumely collected some information, collected some samples from the respondents from the universe. That is called randomly. Selected means you have taken the research design. On the basis of research design, you are planned to collect the data from the respondent, specific group, specific people, specific field that is selected for the research activities. On the basis, you can go for observations. Then conduct the observations, the venue, duration, recording, materials, take photographs, many things are related for observation. How to conduct the observation while interaction with the respondents. Then go for compile the data that is collected. What data or information collected, you go for compile. Compile this is you can segregation the data, means you have this information and resource gatherings. Then go for the dissemination the data, which data is reliable, which data is not reliable. Those data is reliable, that is data is recorded. Those data is not reliable, that is discarded. So compile the data depends upon the nature of a compiled data and what you observe that is recorded by the researchers in his hand. And finally analyze and interpret the data collected. Whatever data collected, data collection, data presentation, data classification, then data analysis, and finally the data interpretations. On the basis of a result table, researcher go for analysis. The part-wise analysis or the whole analysis or experimental analysis depends upon the researcher's experience and observations, so that a good qualitative research is expected. The classification, the observation may be two types, again have the structured and unstructured. The structure is a plan. So classification one, the structure observation, the researcher will go for observation, which is characterized by careful definition of the units to be observed. What units to be observed, which units to be observed, and the style of recording the observed information, standardized conditions, observation of the selection and related data is observed scientifically, systematically, planningly, that is called as structured observations. Then go for the unstructured observation, which are not planned, so that when it takes place without the above characteristics, without any plan, without any systematic, if you go for the randomly collection of data from the respondent and what you are observed from your experience, that is called as unstructured observation. The participants and non-participant observation. Again, the observation that is in two types. One is the participants observation, another called as a non-participant observation. In classification 2, let us come to discuss one by one. In the participant observation, When in observation, in the interaction by researcher and the respondent, when the observer is a member of the group which he is observing, then it is participant observation. Participant observations in a group, researcher himself or herself as a member of in that group, so that easy to collect the data, easy to observe the attitude, easy to observe the behavior of the respondent, body language, facial expression, everything are observed properly by the researcher as a participant. That type of observation called as a participant observation. The second type of participant, the second type of observation called as non-participant observation, when observer is observing, when researcher is observing people without giving any information. Researcher having seen without any information, any notice to the respondents, collects the data from his participation in a group, either individually or a group, whatever may be collected data or information, that is called non-participant observation. Where researchers may not have this participant as a group member, as a team member, like this so ones. By other members, other enumerator, that is other experimenter, that is collected data, that is non-participant moment, that is called as a non-participant observation. Clear? Then go for this is the controlled observation, uncontrolled observation. Again, the observation divided two types. One is controlled observation, another is uncontrolled observations. When researcher in the classification 3, we are going to discuss the primary data from the observation and control observation. First is the uncontrolled observation, then go for the control observation. When the observation takes place in natural condition, natural climate, natural environment, that is uncontrolled observations. It is not done by the spontaneous picture of the life of a person. When the researcher collects the information from the natural situation, natural climate, natural conditions, natural environment, in that situation, the information it may be or may not be related, may be reliable, may not be reliable, whatever it may be, the spontaneous picture, that is life of the persons, like this so on, these are belongs to uncontrolled observation. For example, rain, the cyclone, tsunami, that is earthquake, like this so on. This is the how information collected. That information may be scientifically developed. Cyclone, we can judge accurately, but this is not 100 to 100% collected the information through the observation, because the natural condition, because it is not control, it is beyond the control. It is beyond control of the researcher or observation or surveyor. So that is called uncontrolled observation. In second type, there is control observation. Control observation is one type of observation in which the observation takes place according to pre-arranged, pre-planned, systematically, the meticulous design, the experimental procedures, experiments, then it is control observation. Generally done in laboratory under control condition. If a researcher is testing some hypothesis taken by the researcher as per the research design with a laboratory situation, whatever result comes, that is controlled by the researcher, controlled by the observer. That type of condition, that type of experiment, that type of observation called as a control observation, because it has a control condition. With control condition, whatever may be laboratory test, experiment happen, that is controlled by the researchers. So that it has also belongs to part of primary research, which are enhancing the qualitative research. Then the advantages of observations, means merits of observations. Observation methods belongs to qualitative research, primary mode of data collection, primary mode of that is research, that is enhancing such merits. That is produces large quantity of data. In the observation, many data, many information may be collected by the researchers. Second, all data obtained from the observation are usable. Maybe or may not be, but many data collected, plenty of data, huge quantity of data collected, which are enhancing a qualitative research. The observation technique can be stopped to begin at any time. Observation either anytime that is begun or anytime that is closed. Whatever it may be, it depends upon the researcher mindset, researcher at the mood, researcher planning, research design, so that observer technique can be stopped, which is controllable. And relative expensive, this is relative inexpensive. Observation is not more expensive, it is very less expensive, so that it is a merit of observation. Disadvantages or observation or demerits of observations. In interviewing, selecting subjects may provide more information economically than waiting for the spontaneous occurrence of the situation. In that situation, economically not have this consumed well. So that is beyond economically, many money, many capital invested for the FDCC in this observation. so that it has a demerits. It is expensive methods because due to observation, many settings, many surveyors, many that is the people are required. They may be expense huge money, so that observation may be expensive, and it has limited information. If the information is limited, so that how can researcher go for quality research? It is not possible. So that it has another demerits, and finally extensive training is needed because the new researcher having lack of experience, lack of trainings, how can he observe or she observe from the respondent qualitative data? It is not possible. So that she needs or he needs that training. So that here the expensive training is expensive and needed. So that this is the demerits or disadvantages of observations. Then go for the second method of primary data, interview methods. The second, interview is the part of the primary method of data collection that involve the presentation, oral, verbal, or stimuli, that is repeated terms of oral or verbal responses. How the researcher collected data through the face-to-face interaction with the respondent, that is called as interview. Interview may be structured interview, interview may be unstructured interview, or a planned interview, or a non-planned interview, whatever it may be. The collection data orally, that is called as interview methods. The interviewer asks the questions with the set of questions aim to get information required from the studies. Many questions are settled in a questionnaires and asked to the respondent, and respondent part information given or respondent given that is recorded by the researchers, that is the collection of data.
Sir, sorry for the interruption, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, sorry for the interruption. Sir, most of the participants are requesting that you can go a little bit slow, sir, because this presentation is good. Your speech is very fast. They just
okay, sir, no problem. So the collection of data, the collection of qualitative data depends on interview. Interview structure, semi-structure, or having conversational. In the semi-structure, structure means a plan interview. That's the interviewer, the researcher take a plan, systematic plan, that is collection of data from the respondent in a structured way, a systematic way, scientific way, that is a structured interview. Semi-structure, which are not a plan, not a on plan, that is called a semi-structures. And conversational, the face-to-face interaction in between the researcher and the respondents, that is conversational. Particularly oral communication. In data, that is oral communications or verbal communication, data is collected by the researchers, that is called as oral communications. And the interview is useful for follow-up probing questions. Any useful the interview is a face-to-face interaction, that is probing the questions. What questions are asked by the researchers to the respondent, whether it is valid or invalid, whether it is right or wrong, that is probing by the researchers. If unstructured, can generate large amount of data. If a question is structured, then this limited or accurate information are that is a information given by the respondents. If a question is unstructured, there is biased questions, not ethical questions, not standard questions, so that researcher while ask the questions to the respondents maybe give the information or may not give the information rightly. So the interviewing, it can generate large amount of data. So large amount of data which are enhancing the qualitative research. Clear? Then go for the steps of an interview. The effective interview. What are the steps of effective interview? So interview has a number of steps. There is a prepare interview schedule properly with a proper plan, systematically as per requires. Then select subjects. Which subject? You will go for this interview. Key respondents, who are the key respondents? That is particularly student, or you have this interview. That's the interviewee, interviewers. That's the interview. Who are interview? That is this is marketing, from the field of marketing, field of this finance, field of HR, whatever it may be. The key respondents you can select. The conduct the interview. When you conduct the interview, there is this date fix as per date schedule of date, time also fix. That is conduct the interview and analyze and interpret the data collected from the interview. During the interview, there is the face-to-face interaction or questionnaires asked by the researchers to the interviewee. That interview, what response to the interviewers that is recorded properly. That is interpretation data or analysis data is useful for qualitative research. There are steps of interview methods. The classification. In the interview method, there are various steps are there. One is structured interview, another is unstructured interview, another is focus interview. These are the steps of interview. In a structured interview, in this case, a set of pre-decided questions are there. In structured interview, which questions are asked to the interviewer to the interviewee or respondent, that have this questionnaire prepared first. On the basis of questionnaires, the respondent, the observer, or the interviewer asks the questions to the interviewee, and interviewer, according to the question, they may be respond, and their responses are recorded in proper manner for a qualitative research. Second thing, unstructured interview. Those interviews are not planned, not systematic. These type of interviews called as unstructured interview. In this case, we do not follow a systems of predetermined questions. The questions are asked instantly, present questions, instant questions, random questions are asked to the interviewee by the interviewer, which is known as unstructured interview. And focus interview. In focus interview, it pays the attention of a focus group, experience the basis of a respondent experience. There are training, there are skills, which is possible of effect during the focus interview, what researcher expected or interviewer expected from the interview. That is known as focus interview. Clear? Then go for classification. Then the steps of interview also go for the clinical interview, group interviews, qualitative and quantitative interview. So in clinical interview, in particular the medical profession, medical students, clinical interview taken. This is nursing, medical sciences. They are taking the interview, clinical interviews. Also, the psychologists have taken the clinical interview. That clinical interview is concerned with the broad underlying feelings or motivations, or with the course and individual life experience. In the during interview, what motivates the feelings of motivation interviews? The interviewee's feelings or motivations, how encouraged to the researchers, or this is the course of individual life experience, how shared by the interview during his interaction with the interviewers. That also recorded in the clinical part of interviews. Then go for the group interviews. So for group interviews concerned, in a group of people or group of students or group of people or group of respondents, that is researchers participate and ask the questions to the interviewees by the interviewers. Then it is recorded properly. That is a group interview. In a group interview, generally 6 to 8 individual or students are interviewed at a time, so that a response is collected easily. If you go for any group, that's 150, more than 50 or 100 or many participants, that's the interviewer may not collect the good questions or a reliable answer information from the MCC group members. So in qualitative data, quantitative interviews, that are divided basically subject matter of whether the qualitative and quantitative, that's depends the nature of a research program. And that type of question are prepared by the researchers for qualitative questions and quantitative questions during the interview that are needed by the researcher. Accordingly, ask the questions from the respondent response, they record it. Clear? Then go for the classical steps of interview, classifications, individual interview, selection interview. Then go for this is individual interview, that is face-to-face interaction interview, that is the interviewer meets a single person and interviews him. The face-to-face single person, psychological interview, PI, psychological interview or PT, psychological test taken by this interviewer, that is or psychology, that is collection of data accurately from the respondent. Where respondent is a freehold to respondent, because face-to-face interaction, the collection of data may be possible, may be rightly possible. Rightly, there is a collection of information from the respondent. Then go for the selection interview. The selection interview is another part of this is a basic method of data collection. That is a primary method for data collection. That done for selection people for certain jobs. For example, engineer. The engineer of this is mechanical department. That is go for interview. That is selection of the candidates only for the mechanical engineer. Those are done. That is a BTech degree in mechanical engineering, but specifically engineering, mechanical engineering, they may be selected. Electrical engineers, electrical qualifications engineers may not selected, or management people may not selection. So that specific job, specific skill people are required. That situation, the selection interview taken by the researcher, while the selective post is justified, or a selective research is justified. That selection questions, specific people are selected through the selective interview. Clear? Then go for which is advantages of interview methods. In interview methods, it has merits, many merits. It has more information collected in a depth manner, greater manners can be obtained. In the interview methods, interviewer maybe go for this is simple questions, maybe have this simple, maybe have this depth questions. On the basis of depth question, interviewer can enter the depth of the respondents. Means first asking the question simple questions. If simple question answer, then little bit have the high standard questions. Answer, got the answer. Then go for the complex questions. Then answer, then go for psychological questions, ask the depth of the interview regarding his feelings, regarding his skill, regarding his expectation. That also collected from the information through the interview. So this is the basic part of this is the merit. Again, resistance may be overcome by the skilled interviewer. In the skilled interview, resistance of this may be overcome. In the interview, some questions are asked by the researchers. That question is beyond the resistance capability of the respondents. That situation, if the respondent have this is responded properly, that is responded properly and adjust properly, then interviewer judge that the respondent having this skill. So if he has skilled and experienced, he has a response properly. If not skilled, maybe reluctant, maybe aggressive, maybe this is reluctant to respond. And finally, the personal information can be obtained. In the interview, there is a personal information. While interaction interviewers with the interviewer may ask the personal questions or individual questions or private questions to the interviewee. If a free interaction with the counseling is a good state of behavior, he may be or she may be, there is a response properly, personal information may be given. For example, this is, you can give this is in interview board. If I ask a girl, how old are you? That is this is maybe that is directly say. But in the group of this is, if you say how old are you, she may not be disclose her age because she reluctant to disclose her age. So that situation, personal information, the personal interaction may be information getting easily. These are the merits of interview methods. Then go for the demerits or disadvantages of interview methods. These are, it is an expensive methods because the interview method is schedule methods. It is a plan methods, so that in interview many experts are maybe higher, this office may be higher, there is furniture is required, there is so many people are required, there is experts are required, so that is expensive. Interview is means this interviewer maybe techniques, maybe this is systematic, it's okay. Non-systematic means interviewer bias, which depends upon, so that many expenses may be made. Respondent bias, so that it depends on the respondent. Interviewer asks is the interview is moved, that is ask the questions, questions, interview, that is respond. Interview is not moved, reluctant giving the information, so that situation, the respondent, the researcher may not collect the right information from the respondents, and it is time consuming. Many times required in interview, because one by one group interview may be possible, but group interview not always possible. So that one by one candidate are hearing for interview, they can have this is one interview, that's 5 minutes or 10 minutes interaction, so that it is time consuming. These are demerits for the interview methods. Their collection of questionnaire methods. Those are researchers. No, those are go for private, the PhD researchers or paper that is called go for research work. For them, the questionnaire is most useful. A questionnaire is sent by post or mail. A questionnaire is a set of questions that are simple to complex questions, not complex questions, psychological questions, jargonal questions, not mention the questionnaires. Basically, a questionnaire having this is 15 questions. That 15 questions are simple to average. Simple to average questions, some extent maybe little complex questions, maybe that is asked by the researchers to the respondents, that is related to the research problem, that is called as questionnaires. That questionnaires may be sent with now Google Mail. Now Google format is very easy to collection data. Most PhD research scholars go for Google format. They're using the risk questionnaires that asked to the respondent, and the respondent is easily and at less time that is collected the information from the respondent. Different sections, various sections, that is professors, academicians, engineers, many people are associated with Google format on the basis of they can express their information or data to the research scholars. So that the questionnaire may be sent in post or by mail to the persons concerned with the request to answer the questions and return to the questionnaires on the basis of Google format or mail, whatever may be. Researchers is find the way that is adopted by the researchers. Again, a questionnaire consists of a number number of questions printed in a definite order or a form. In questionnaires, there is a number of questions may be asked, but the right questionnaires 15 questions or maximum 15 to 20 questions asked by the researchers. In a questionnaire, there is a good questionnaires. In that questionnaires, good quality of paper use, good quality of color use, so that respondents are happy to receive the questions and happy to respond on the basis of questions. So definite order, sequence, chronological order, sequence wise definite order. If asked the questions, maybe multiple questions, basically the multiple questions are asked by the researchers in a questionnaire to the respondent. Respondent happy to have this is respondent. If you have the complex question, psychological question or jargon word used in a questionnaire, that questionnaire mode of a questionnaire is vague. That is no fruitful. So steps on effective questionnaires. The effective questionnaire methods, steps are effective. That is prepare questions. First you prepare questions, then formulate the questions, choose types of questions, either have the simple type of questions, that is sentence, one sentence written questions, or multiple questions, or have the yes no questions, order them, write of instruction accordingly, make copies to the respondents, and respondents while receiving the copy, receiving the questions, then happy to respondents. Secondly, selection, your respondents randomly selected. You go for ask the questions randomly, means assumably, means that's arbitrary, or this is not having selective process, that is called as randomly. If you go for planning, that is called as selective. Then additionally, the questionnaires, date, venue, time, fix the data, date, venue, time, accordingly, you ask the question to the questionnaires. Tabulate the data collected, what information are given given from the respondents while interact with the question, that is tabulate the data perfectly, which is called as data collections. Then go for data presentation, data analysis, data interpretation. This is the mode of having these questionnaires to go for research activities, the method of data collection, that is. Then types of questionnaire methods. The questionnaire method, types of questionnaire methods. What type of questionnaire method are asked by the researchers to the respondents? Classification, open-ended questions, closed-ended questions. In open-ended questions, this gives the respondent the ability to respond their own words. That's a freehold. You ask the question to the respondents, freehold, one sentence or two sentences or free, that is the answer. That is the space, specific space is there, so that the respondent are happy to write there. Their information, their behavior, that is particularly what the respondent think or wanted to say, that recorded there. Closed-ended questions are fixed or alternative questions. There is a respondent are allowed to choose one or given alternatives. Either one alternatives or given multiple choices, more than alternatives. The researchers have this responded out of 4 more choices, one choice filled. Out of 2, yes or no, that one is filled. The types of autonomous questions or multiple questions, the part of the closed-ended questions, which are fixed alternative questions, and they belongs to the types of questionnaire method is concerned. How to make a questionnaires, how to prepare a questionnaire, how to make a questionnaires. This is a basic task of researchers. Those are go for the research, preliminary research, and this is PhD. That is how to prepare the questionnaires. That is questionnaire is a very top job, but not an easy job. So essential of good questionnaires may be conceived should be short and simple, because simple is the best. Short is the best. Limited minimum questions. That is 10 to 15 questions. If 10 to 15 questions, simple language and the understandable language, ask to the researcher, ask to the respondents, then the respondent happy to answer. Second things, follow a sequence of questions from easy to difficult. I have told you earlier that the questionnaire first have a simple question tracks, personal information, then go for this little bit content oriented, then little bit depth oriented, then you can easily obtain the information from the respondents, because questions are simple to little bit complex. If a complex question asks or a psychological question asks in a questionnaire, the respondent may not have this is able to respond properly. That's reluctant to respond, and he has avoid the respondent his information or her informations. Third things, the technical terms should be avoided. There's a jargon word, technical term, don't use in the questionnaires. Those are that is what a respondent maybe know, maybe unknown. So that this is avoid the technical term questions, particularly psychological questions in jargon word, you never ask in the questionnaires. Should provide adequate space for answer in questionnaire. In questionnaires, suppose you are one sentence, freehold of this is respondent for a respondent response, so that they are specific space instead of specific place, free places are there, so that happily respondent have this is responded properly or write properly, given the information. what he likes or dislikes, what he wanted to deliver it. Clear on this? And finally, the direction is regarding the filling of questionnaires should be given physical appearance. The physical appearance, quality of paper, good quality of paper, attractive color, so that respondent while receiving the questionnaires and they are happy to receive the paper, receive the questions, and happy to that is a response, giving the response properly. The sequence must be clear, chronological sequence must be clear. Therefore, the good questionnaire may be possible by the researchers while go for the essential of a good questionnaire method of questionnaire preparation. Clear? Then go for this is advantages of questionnaire methods. The merits. The merits low costs, even when the universal relations large and the widespread. That is a questionnaire method is systematic. That is a low cost of expenditure. Good questionnaires, good information, qualitative information, researcher obtained. Then fee of interviewers. Interviewer has no control. Interviewers need not require interviews. There's a planning interview, expert hirings, and many expenditures, fooding, lodging, like this, so on. Many things are maybe expenses. But here in the questionnaires, send the questionnaire through the Google format, through the mail, and the response comes. So that is easy. So that where is very less expense, very zero expenses. The respondent have adequate time to think through the answers. When receive the questionnaire or question set or questions from the researchers to the respondent have plenty of time. That is, this is 1 week, 2 days, 3 days, whatever it may be. The respondents are think properly, then answer properly on the basis of questionnaires. The respondents who are not easily approachable, they can also be reached conveniently. Those are not reliable, those are not available due to their busy schedule. They come to having home, and when you are free time, they interact with their mail, so that they are able to get the questions on the basis of questionnaires. They are able to answers in their free times. And a large sample can be used in the merit of questionnaire methods when respondents are responded in large informations, large samples may be collected. Maybe that is 100, maybe 100 respondents, maybe more than 300, 500 large informations are collected by the researchers through the questionnaire methods. These are the merits. The demerits, it is time consuming because on the basis of willing, the time, the respondent give the information, so that it may be time consuming. The respondents need to be educated to cooperative. If researchers, the respondents may be educated. If questionnaire methods on the basis of questionnaire, he has to learn the English language, then he has to understand the language, what words are used by the researchers, and accordingly the respondent. So that the respondents should be educated and cooperative, so that the right information given by the respondents while you interact with the questionnaires. And this method is slow. This is the time consuming. This method is very slow. These are demerits and a possibility of unclear replies. In the research, possibility of unclear. Such information, the responses are unclear, which are doubtful. So that situation, a quality research may not be expected by the researchers. Then go for schedule of questionnaire methods. The fourth is schedules. The time schedule of questionnaire methods. While go for asking the questionnaire methods, the time should be fixed by the researchers, very similar to questionnaire methods. In the questionnaires, very similar questions may be asked, similar time may be asked by the researchers. That is scheduling of a questions, scheduling of the questionnaire methods. The main difference is that schedule is filled by the enumerator. The schedule or program, schedule means a program. That's the number of event activities, number of a program may be conceived. That is schedule. The schedule is given by the enumerator. The enumerator is skilled and experienced, then he has or she has able to schedule a good, that is a program. Otherwise, specifically who appointed for the purpose, that is specifically justified, otherwise it may not be justified. If enumerator, unskilled, unexperienced, untrained, this is the schedule of a questionnaire method is failures. Then the enumerator goes to respondents, asks them the questions from the questionnaires in order to listed and records responses in the space provided. Whereas in the questionnaires, some space are there. If this is responded routinely or anything statement-wise statement given by the respondent, that space is required. So in that space, that the respondent have routine, and accordingly the routine information, the enumerator go for this is recorded the data. That is the collection of data from the scheduling. Enumerator must be trained in administrating the schedule. The enumerator should be properly qualified, properly experienced, and properly having the knowledge of the scheduling the interview, scheduling the questionnaires. Then it is a good quality of the scheduling is possible. Otherwise, a good quality of a schedule program may not be possible by the enumerators. And questionnaires, the versus questionnaire and schedule methods, which is better? The questionnaire versus schedule methods, questionnaire method contains generally sent to through mail and no further assistance from the sender. This is sender need not require further assistance. Generally send the questionnaires or questions through the mail and expected the right information, respecting the information from the respondents. Where schedule is filled by the enumerator or research worker. A good quality of enumerator, skillful enumerator or research worker that is filled the schedule by the research scholar or maybe researchers for expecting a good quality of information. In the schedule questionnaires, the question is a cheaper method. Question is a cheaper method. This is maybe cheaper methods. Question 10 or 15 questions ask that is a type. That is in Google format, sent to have this is the respondents. That is very cheaper, economical cheaper. Whereas the schedule is programming based, so that cost will require the field workers. Non-response is high in the questionnaires, whereas non-response is low in the schedule. Incomplete and wrong information is more. In the questionnaire, incomplete. In the questionnaire, such questions are related with the research problem, and respondents are no, or he understands the questions, then answers. Such questions may not understand properly, may not know, so that respondents may not answer properly. That is a gap. So that the information may be incomplete, some extent may be wrong, so that which is not enhancing a qualitative research. If the qualitative good information, right information obtained by the researcher from the respondent, it has enhancing a quality research. Which is in the schedule depends upon honesty of the enumerator. If the enumerator having experience, honesty, that depends on good quality of this information. If he has no honesty, dishonesty, then you cannot expect a good quality of that is respondents or information obtained from the respondents. In questionnaire, lastly, depends upon the quality of questionnaires. The questionnaires good information, qualitative information, reliable information obtained from the respondent. If qualitative, simple and qualitative questions are asked by the researcher in the form of questionnaires, so that they are the respondent the information is qualitative. Whereas the schedule, the relatively more correct or incomplete, that is enhancing the this qualitative research, mentioned this qualitative research. Then go for next time. This is the qualitative research glance. We have discussed the qualitative research. The qualitative research is nothing but it is concerned with a process of research work which involves the finding out when people think and how they feel, how they rate, how they say, how they think, and how they say and how they feel about themselves. That is the sole factor for discussion. That is the qualitative research. This kind of information is subjective, but this is how they feel, how they think, positive thing. People are positive things. If a researcher thinking about himself, how people thinking about himself or herself, that situation may be negative, may be positive. So that on the basis of thinking, thought processes, researches depend. If negative, that is not quality research. If positive thinking, then having this is the quality research is possible. So that how they feel during the research work, how they evaluate, how they rate the research activities, research work, it depends upon the quality research, which is the most depends upon the experience of the researchers, which is subjective and it involves the feeling and impression rather than numbers or facts or findings. It depends, quality research depends on the feeling and experiences. Number of experiences, feeling of experiences, and how they feel. That is the skillful have this is the interview, skillful of the training, skillful of this tactfully handle the respondent views. Then quality research is possible. Other than number of data, number of information may be collected by the researchers, which are useless, which are unreliable. That is not scientific. The data may not enhancing a qualitative research. What is qualitative research? So for the qualitative research is concerned, it is interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, and this is counterdisciplinary also. It is a discipline field. Quality research depends upon interdisciplinary because it has related with a number of fields, particularly social science, particularly that is called the ethnographic research. Particularly having this is the grounded theory research that connected with the many disciplines. That is social sciences, physics, that is social sciences, political science, sociology, psychology, like this on. Many branches are related a good quality of research activities or information. Again, it is transdisciplinary, it has a multidisciplinary, some extent may be counterdisciplinary when research and qualitative information may be expected from different fields. Again, it crosses the humanities, the social science and physical sciences. Quality research is many things at the same time. Quality research is not only related with the social science, but also it has some extent maybe crossover, maybe it's related with the physical sciences, meta sciences, physical sciences like this one, where is the information that also extracted by the researcher for enhancing the quality research. Again, it is multiple paradigms. The quality research is multiple paradigms in focus in practitioner, that is you are sensitive to the value of the multi-method approach. But practitioner, those are experimenter, or they have this is a good quality in research work. They are practitioner. They know the sensitive and value of the multi-method approach of research. But others may not have this is may not know the value of a multi-method of approach of research. And finally, they are committed. Means the researchers are committed in naturalistic perspectives and to the interactive understandings of the human experience. Those that understand the human experience, observe the experience, feelings, attitude, behavior, then accordingly the informations are collected from themselves. It has enhancing a quality research. Otherwise, at the same time, the field of inherently political and shaped of multiple ethical and political positions are enhancing. If a good quality, they enhancing the quality research. Otherwise, it may not enhancing a quality research. The basic difference of quality research and quantitative research. The quality research, that is multiple realities. It has focus on multiple, that's realities, scientific, authenticate informations. Whereas quantitative is single reality. Whereas a single reality quantitative of this is as per the data requires that amount of data collected. In the quality research, that is the second point, reality is socially constructed. The reality is social constructed. Reality means real is real, not real. Real is not equal with real. That's real means this is the fabricated. Real is fabricated, expected, predicated, whatever it may be. That information is not accurate for the quality research. The social construct, all things are social construct. Reality is social construct because data related with the society. Data collected from the society, family members, peer members, like this so on. That is social constructed. Whereas in quantitative data, reality is objectives. Reality is objective means object oriented as per requirement of data. Reality is context interrelated. Reality is context interrelated. That's subjective. That's subjective. Different field, different segmentation. The data information related. There, that information should be collected for a quality research. But it's related context free. In the quantity research, there is need not require any limitation, there is compel for collection of data from this society, from these peer groups, like this so on. That reality is context free. And it's a holistic. Quality research is holistic, whereas it's a reduction sticks. In the quantity research data, there is a reduction sticks. Means not a holistics. Strong philosophical perspectives. In the quality research, strong philosophical perspectives are expected, or hearing, or collected the information from the good people, social people, good people. Those are good thoughts or optimistic thought that people's informations or quotations or messages are collected by the researchers. There is strong philosophical perspectives. While the quantitative research only for strong theoretical base. That is quantitative research is theoretical base as per the research design that require that amount of this that type of data collected by the researchers. When the quality research reasoning is inductive, because quality research always is inductive, whereas quantitative research is deductive process. Remember, quality research is inductive process and deductive process means from this bottom to top and top to bottom. Like this, so in inductive and this is reasoning is justified, whereas quality research. But in quantity research, reasoning is deductive and it is not inductive. That is not inductive, not justified. Some extent may be justified, some extent may not be justified. So there is need not to justify the reasons in quantity research, but quality research should be focuses about the quality so that there is justified. And finally, the discovery of the meaning of the basis of knowledge. Knowledge is developed because research is a knowledge-oriented process. Research is acquiring knowledge process. Research is a continuous process. Research is a day-to-day process. Research is a continuous learning. Like this, so on in the quality research, discovery of a meaning in the basis of knowledge that is find out, eradicated properly by the researchers, while qualitative research expected. And finally, develop the theory. By the quality research, a theory is expected, theory is possible, a thesis is possible, but whereas in the quantitative research, only for the quantitative publication, quantitative publication is possible, but qualitative publication is not published. So many teachers, many professors publish many journals, but out of journals, many journals are not having the Scopus Index journal or good branded journal, Thomson Edwards Index journals, or having the Wilson Daily Index journals, so that or Sage journal says whatever may be good quality of journals indexing. If a good quality of a paper published, good quality of content is that a good quality of a publishers are published. So that this situation, the test theory is quantitative based. Then finally, this is the basic difference. The qualitative and quantitative theory developed during the studies, whereas quantitative, the theory developed priorly. Either yes, priorly develop or may not develop. In the qualitative research, meaning of the concept is justified. Process is oriented is justified. Control of unimportant. Control of unimportant. Those are not important. That is may not have taken the data information for the qualitative research. Whereas in the quantitative research data, all data is accepted by the researchers. That is go for data presentations. It is outcome oriented in the quantitative research. It is control important in the quantitative research, whereas uncontrolled important in the qualitative research. In the rich descriptions, then qualitative research requires a vast description, vast analysis, vast that's narration regarding the quality of research, regarding quality of information, how informations are justified, how informations are useful for quality research. Whereas the quantitative research only precise the measurement of variables as per required the data, as per required the research that the variables, measurable variables are required that precisely, so that it has enhancing the quantitative research. And finally, the basic element of analysis in words, uniqueness, truthfulness, findings are trustworthiness that is expected in qualitative research. Whereas in the quantitative research, basic elements of analysis is numbers, generalization, and control of errors. As a control of errors, many more is visible in the quantitative research. But qualitative research, the errors are very less. So that it has the description about the qualitative and quantitative research in reference between two. Then basic methods of qualitative research. So many, this is schema or model for qualitative research and qualitative research. The research methods, both are qualitative and quantitative. Here is qualitative, this is case of students, the use of a secondary data. When primary data not sufficient, then go for the secondary data. This is a formal interview. This is the observations which are discussed already. Informal interview, this is interviews, observations, participant observation, non-participant observation, overt observation, covert observation, overt participant. Covert participant means internal, covert means internal and external. Here is a internal participation or external participation, which we have discussed already. Then go for the quantitative research, that is use of a secondary data. In quantitative research, that is called as secondary data. In the qualitative research, that is called as primary data. If the primary data not sufficient, go for secondary data. Quantitative research also needs the secondary data. I have admitted that, but this is in the sequence that each may not require. So that content analysis, experiment, official statistics, survey methods, questionnaires, the structure interview, many more are enhancing the qualitative research. This is the schema. In the sampling strategy and description in qualitative research, intensive sampling, that is in description information in rich cases. That's the intensity, the depth of sampling, how much quality of sampling collected from the universe or population, that is depends upon the experience of the researcher or enumerators. The typical case samplings, such case sampling are typical, such case sampling are easy. So that is focus on a normal average of the highlighting the whole population. If a population from the extract from the population, this population is a sample size is few, very few. This population is in comparison to the population, then sample is your biased sample. That's the errors of sample are visible. So snowball sampling, theory-based sampling, qualitative sampling. Snowball sampling as sampling first group of participants nominates and other individual, that is that type of sampling called as snowball samplings. Theory-based sampling, which are based on cases, selected cases, basis of the represent of a theoretical construct, that is called as theory-based sampling. And finally, qualitative samplings, that is depends upon descriptive research, presentations, and the authenticity of information collected by the researcher from the respondent. That is called as that type of sampling, that type of information collected by the researcher called as qualitative sampling. Clear? Then go for which is conclusion. And finally go for conclusion, that is in conclusion, the above said discussions are proving that qualitative and quantitative research actually ought to complement as opposed to compete each other in the scientific way of research. Because this research is a scientific process. Research is a continuous process. If proving the quality research rather than quantitative research, or both the qualitative and quantitative research, it actually ought to compete as opposed to compete. In scientific research, that's reliable research, good quality research, that is data is collected, reliable scientific, then that is research oriented or social science related, then good quality of the quality research is expected. Otherwise, may not expected a good quality of research. Where the qualitative research can be especially useful during the early stage of a good studies, when the researcher may be focuses, when the researchers may be unsure the exactly what will be considered, what will be studied, or what to focus on, while qualitative research is helpful to confirm hypotheses that qualitative researchers have helped to identify. While go for the quality research, the research special focus is useful during the early stages of studies. In the preliminary stages of studies, what researcher observed, what researcher learn, and according to the researcher may be unsure exactly what will be studied on the focus of what situations, what conditions, that quantitative research is helpful to confirm the hypothesis. While the quantitative research confirm the hypothesis, but qualitative research may not confirm the hypothesis because it helps to identify the hypothesis if the hypothesis is justified. That is testable. After testable, that is accept the hypothesis. That is called as, that is maybe accept the hypothesis. Hypothesis two types. One is null hypothesis, another is alternate hypothesis. When there is null hypothesis, is false. When is null hypothesis is false, but you can accept this wrongly accepted. That is a type error, type 1 errors. But while a hypothesis, null hypothesis is specific or definitely rejected, that's a null hypothesis true. You can have the true, but you can also accept having this is the null hypothesis. That situation also the type errors. If a null hypothesis is rejected, null hypothesis is wrong, then you are rejected the null hypothesis. That is a type 2 errors. So that is discussion latter part, which is identified by the qualitative research. Both the methods are together in different ways of gather data for collection of data, gather of data and explain association phenomenon, build a foundation on which to build the structure of research design. On the qualitative information, either quantitative or qualitative information, such information, reliable information, authentic information, a good quality of that is quality research and that is quantitative research is expected and possible. That is the foundation stone of research activities, or build the foundation of research activities. And structure of research design is possible if research objectives on the basis of application of research questionnaires and mode of data collection in authentic, reliable, and scientific, then the quality research is possible. Other than a quality research may not possible or may not expected by the researchers. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you for your patience. Extremely sorry, I have this is just 10 minutes overlap because it's a late consumer. This is a late level strategy. Thank you overall over to host. Thank you all for kind patience for hearing me. Hello. Hello. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Over. Any questions? Happy to repeat. Any questions? Any questions? If any questions, maybe ask. Okay. Thank you, sir. Over to host.
Sir, shall I go for vote of thanks?
Yeah. If any questions, then ask questions, then go for vote of thanks. How many participants are there? How many participants here? That's I am not able to see in participant number of participant. Okay. Okay, if any questions, it's okay. Otherwise, go for wind up the session. Nowadays, one question of this is nowadays money do all research work. One question asks this is money. This is money. It is bright. This is money. It is brighter than sunshine. Clear? This is money. Without money, there is no honey. I know that. But as a researcher, as a professor, don't expect money. Money is not required for a research work. Listen. Money is not required for a research work. If you have a cognitive, if you have potency, if you have ability, if you have knowledge, if you have experience, there is no need money. There is no need money for research work. Maybe some extent money is required. Dr. Rajesh Khanna, Raji, don't expect money. Don't have this is go for money. PhD for particularly PhD work. If you pay money, then PhD is possible. I know that. But those are good quality of researchers. They don't require pay money to the guide. Money is not easy. Money is not everything. Money is just a motivator and emotional things. Next questions, if any related questions. Any questions behalf of our audience, humble audience? If any questions regarding research related, yeah.
So most of the participants are requesting for the PPT presentation.
Yeah, so I'm sharing the PPT. I'm sending the PPT with the WhatsApp message, mail and WhatsApp. I'm sending the PPT. You can share the PPT. Okay.
Okay.
Just 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I am sharing the PPT. Okay.
Okay, sir. Fine. Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, my name is Parvati, Faculty of Commerce.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, ma'am, bole. Yeah.
Which method will be useful for doing research, sir, in questionnaire?
In questionnaire?
Will be useful for doing research.
Listen, there is so many methods for particular questionnaire, preparation of questionnaire, specific, be specific. In questionnaire method?
Yes, yes sir.
Yes, listen. Questionnaire itself is a method. First method, primary method of research is a questionnaire. Understand? Questionnaire method. Prepare the good quality of a question. Primary methods. The primary method or basic method, which is known as belongs to basic research, that enhancing your qualitative research activity. If your questionnaire is good, then you ask the questionnaires to the respondent, and respondent happy to respond. The information is positively reliable, authentic. Then your quality research is possible. If your questionnaire method is biased, questions are complex, questions are not understandable, how can a respondent respond? How can give in such information, right information? Not possible. So that a good quality of a questionnaire method should be adopted initially by the researchers or research scholar. Clear? Understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any questions? Research is patience. Research is continuous process. Require the research motivation. Research patience is required. Without lose of patience, research is not possible. Those are having patience, they are success in research. They are obtain the PhD degree. PhD degree not less than, that is 3 years, not less than 2.5, 3 years, not less than you obtain the PhD degree. Maybe 5 years, maybe 6 years, some extent. So that you have to keep your patience. In research, patience is required, almost required, solicited. Without patience, research is not possible. Without curiosity, without interest, without motivation, research is not possible. Understand? If any question asks, I am happy to hear.
Hello?
Yeah, sir. Namaste, sir. Yeah.
அதில் பாருங்க எல்லாம் ஒன்றா சேர்த்து போட்டுப்போம் பாருங்க.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
I'm hearing
No,
you, sir.
You
I'm hearing you.
Kindly differentiate. Kindly differentiate the questionnaire and the interview schedule method, sir.
Yeah. I have
differentiate
already
between the questionnaire method and interview schedule.
Yeah, listen. Both the questionnaire method, methods and interview schedule are, yeah. Both the methods of interview methods and questionnaire methods belongs to primary mode of data collection. Clear? In the first step, this is a questionnaire the initial part of research activities where the questions are prepared by the researchers. That is it. 15 questions or 20 questions or accurate questions are prepared by the researchers as per the research problem. As per the research problem related, he asks the questions to the respondents on the basis of a question, on the basis of a questions, multiple questions, or this is one sentence questions on the basis of that responded. That type of questionnaires is prepared by the researchers and having fixed the time for asking the questions. That is called as this is questionnaire scheduling. The program, a program is fixed by the researcher, that is called as regarding ask of questions, where ask the question, whom to ask questions, and how questions are prepared, how questions are applied, and where questions are applied, that is applied or asked, that is the sole factor of a questionnaire, that is the questionnaire methods. Again, in comparison of interview methods, interview method is the primary mode of data collection. In that methods, interview is two types. One is a formal interview or informal interview or structured interview or unstructured interview or a plan interview or non-plan interview. Whatever may be interview method is concerned, there is researcher that is a researcher hiring experts. A group of experts or three experts or number than one experts, that is inviting the experts and having this specific topic, specific branch, and ask the questions to the interviewer. While ask the questions, the interviewer may be many sector, many fields may be ask the questions. There is no limitations. But that situation, face-to-face interaction, what information are got from the interviewee by asking by questions to interviewer, that recorded by the researcher, that type of a method called as interview methods. Interview methods is most attractive methods, most reliable methods, most genuine methods for collection of a primary data. Clear?
Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Welcome, sir. You are very welcome. Any questions? Sir, how many participants I have seen? Have this very few participants are there, or have this many participants? How many participants are there? The less participants, I think less
participants, if you wanted to ask any questions, if you have, please raise up your questions.
Yeah, please. Welcome. All questions. Please, participants, humble participants, honorable participants, please ask questions related with research. Those are go for the PhD work or paper publication. Particular good quality of a paper publication, Scopus index journals or good branded journals, the scientific index journals or web science journal. If you go for publication, you have to know the research work. And the PhD, those are go for intent to go for a PhD. This is the mega platform of learning, because learning research is a continuous process. Research learning, acquiring for learnings. Questions or otherwise wind please.
See that science teachers, what they have to do, Professor? Particularly for science, no, because they are not doing this SPSS and all. Most of the teachers, they never touch upon SPSS, and it is totally different. Only commerce and the management, we are doing economics, we are doing this primary data and the application of SPSS. Whereas science teachers, they are not applying this SPSS.
Okay, next webinar go for the application of SPSS. Yeah, the SPS method, so many softwares there. SPS, RA, EndNote, Jotero, many softwares are there for statistical tools and techniques for application of that is software in the real research or quality research. Don't worry regarding the SPSS. SPS is the part of this one of the software that is having the statistical analysis regarding the correlation, ANOVA, like this, many things are analyzed properly in SPSS. But to some extent, quality research is that SPSS is also failure. SPSS is good software for analyzing the research services while go for analysis the data. So in the next webinar, if you go for this the SPSS method, the application of SPSS methods or statistical methods for data analysis, maybe assist, maybe help you, or maybe lecture you regarding the practically how SPSS methods are useful in statistical analysis. Today is not possible. Today is I have the software SPSS software, but today is not possible because SPSS is minimum 1.5 hour or 2 hours required. That's a testing experimental. I have software, SPSS software. I have turned it in software plagiarism checking. I have everything. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If
Thank
not
you.
any questions, thank you, sir. Namaste, sir. Namaste. Namaste to all.
Sir,
I'm sharing the PPT. Yeah,
sir,
PPT
vote of
sharing.
thanks.
PPT.
Madhuri ma'am is there?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Sir, shall I go for vote of thanks?
Yes, Venkat is there.
I will go for vote of
Yes.
thanks. Sir.
A
Sir,
pleasant
Venkata,
evening.
Ningala. யாராச்சும் ஒருத்தர் vote of thanks சொல்லுங்க.
Yes, Venkat
A,
is there.
ple- a pleasant evening to everyone joined in this webinar. I am Venkat, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce. On behalf of Chief Chandraprabhu Jain College, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to those who have directly and indirectly contributed to this webinar on basic methods of data collection for qualitative and quantitative research organized by Department of Commerce with IQAC of our college. All the outset, I am very thankful to our management and secretary for their support. I thank our chief guest, Dr. Ramesh Chandrarath. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence. I would like to thank our principal and vice principal for their enthusiastic support and motivation. A special thank to our system engineer, Mr. Balaji sir, for the technical support. Our heartful thanks to all the head of the department and my colleagues for their active participation. With these warm words and a kind message, we move to the end of today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Namaste to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for giving me opportunity.
Thank you,
Thank you,
thank
sir. Thank you, sir, for
Thank you,
kind
sir.
cooperation.